Hello everyone. So I've had a bit of an interesting time. Um, I accidentally turned off my microphone while I was recording the video. So then I found that I'd accidentally recorded my practice runs. So today is going to be a little bit strange. I'm going to try adding an audio track in post-production for the first time ever, which is cool, I guess. So you can see that I am hauling some loot which dropped from uh, deep flow rift sites. So I ran 3 deep flow rift sites. I've also got a random cloaking device which I can't use because you have to be an Omega to use it. I got it where I got a ship on a contract and it was in the cargo hold. I can only think the person selling it to me had forgotten that they'd left something in the cargo hold, but there we are. So that's just a random 2 million ISK that we're going to add on. A lot of this deep flow rift loot, interestingly, I make just about the same amount of ISK if I sell it immediately. In a couple of instances, there are people that are buying it for more than the lowest sale price, which I still can't quite get my head around. But what you'll see in a minute, which is really, really cool, is that this big lump of loot that we're selling here, which I think the estimated price was about 70 million, pushes us over the half a billion in liquid ISK, which is absolutely incredible. You'll also see that our total value, our net value, is almost 700 million. I spend quite a lot of the liquid ISK on blueprints. So that means that even though the money goes out of the wallet, the net value still remains quite high. So that's quite positive. A bit later on, when we get to our manufacturing station, which is a different manufacturing station now because I found a better price, the oh, did I just? Oh, I think I just messed up there. I think I sold that one to sell in a month's time rather than taking the ISK. But hey, there we go. No problem. Yeah, you'll notice that I do have a couple of quite nice blueprint originals, which does sound a little bit like a tongue twister. It's interesting that even though I'm not playing and recording my audio, I'm still adding in lots of ums and ahs as well. So that just goes to show that it's the way my brain is wired, I guess. There we are. So you might hear the occasional slurp as well because I am having a cup of tea while we go. And I'm hoping that adding an audio track post-production isn't going to be too traumatically difficult. I can't imagine that it is. So yeah, there you go. We are making some good ISK here. And you should, in a few minutes... I've kind of mastered the art. I'm going to say mastered with making invisible air quotes in the background. I'm trying to make the edits occur when I'm either docking or undocking from stations or going through gates. So you should see a few occasions where we go into one gate and then randomly come out of another gate 5 jumps ahead, just to make the time go a little quicker. I think this video should be about 40 minutes, which is kind of the optimum, I guess. This is videoed just after downtime in the morning. I think, yeah, about 11:13 or something, maybe 11:30. What that means is that the number of EVE players, or the number of capsuleers, is right down to the bare minimum, which means that adds to a bit of our security, which is all good. I'm going to buy a load more Hob 2s. I think I end up buying 30 of them, but I think I've got room on the Travel Punisher for about 20 something. So I find the cheapest one. I'm going to look at the quantity. So my thought process is at the time where I could get pretty much 3 for $1 million. So I worked out that if I bought 30 of them, that works out at less than 10 million. And I think, yeah, at this point, our ISK balance is well over the $500 million there. 522 million, I think I saw. Oh, there you go. I can get 27 Hob 2s in the Punisher. So I think we are going to jump. We're going to leave the station and then jump into the next system. And then magically, by the wonders of my amazing editing skill, we're going to reappear just on the borders of Lowsec, which is going to be kind of fun. Here we go. We are rolling. I'm going to warp to our warp out point. Away from all the Ganky boys. I'm sort of impressed that the Ganky boys are already up and ganking only a few minutes after downtime. So yeah, that's quite impressive. So you can see on the top left-hand corner, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jumps away from Lowsec. But by the magic of editing, we're going to suddenly appear on the edge of Lowsec. I do like this little Punisher. It's a good little ship. Here we go. We are going into the gate now. And suddenly we are on the borders of Lowsec. This was a bit of a total disaster today. I've managed to get going to market, hauling through Lowsec, and a little bit of Lowsec mining, all in one video. Yeah, I think I would. My original plan was to try and do it in 3 different videos, but hey. C'est la vie. Or possibly c'est la guerre, which I think is that's war. Please tell me if I'm wrong. There we are. So Huola is a mad little system. There always used to be a gate camp on this gate. But I don't know whether that's because of the planning or the timing or a combination. It does seem to be quite quiet. There's only one other person in this system at the moment, which is kind of cool. My voice is a bit croaky. I think I've been talking too much. That'll be a nice break for everybody at work tomorrow, if I can't speak. Okay, so the next low... And the eagle-eyed Eve players amongst us will notice that I am just powering from gate to gate. I'm relying on the Punisher's rapid align time. I think this one is sub 3 server ticks. Yeah, if you look at the fit at the bottom of the screen, you can see that I have 4 inertial stabilizer 1s and a tiny little bit of tank from the damage control unit. So yeah, it's a speedy little boy, but it is as fragile as an eggshell. There we go. Right then. But you can see at this time of day, so there's a combination of to make up for the total lack of skills that my little alpha player has. Lowgun has fit his ship for quick align time. I've run the route through gate camp check, which I'll put a link to in the description, and done a bit of planning. So I've selected a time of day when I know that there will be relatively few enemy players. As we always say, there's no such thing as 100% safe in Eve. Here I am hauling 10 million ISK worth of Hobgoblin 2s. I would be a worthwhile target at this point. So here we go. We are nearly there. But this is the first recorded bit of Lowsec. And we will spend a bit more time in Lowsec in a bit as well. I have got a cup of tea on the go, so you may hear the occasional slurp. Tonight is pub quiz night, so me and the lads will be trying to win. Our pub team has had a spell of coming second and third, and on one notable occasion, third from bottom, which is our lowest ever position. I will be sober because I will be driving. Oh yeah, this system is huge. It's one of the biggest systems I know, and the Punisher doesn't have enough power to warp all the way across. So there's a weird little dead spot in the middle where I have to wait for the capacitor to recharge, or recharge enough to jump the last little bit, which we'll see in a minute. I don't think I edited it out. Okay, excuse me drinking tea. I will try and edit the slurps out in a second. What a great little ship the Punisher is. I sing its praises all the time. It's a really good PvP ship if for a regular player who was using guns. It's got a decent amount of PvP. There's the weird little dead spot where I'm going to stop for a second. There he goes. Yeah, if I had sense, I would have edited that bit out so I look better. But that doesn't happen. So I'm going to drop the hobgoblins off at our sort of unofficial base, and then I'm going to hop into a venture and try a little bit of low-sec mining. Now, I have seen the results of this, and you will notice that my planning isn't 100% for this next bit. But then what do we expect? There we go. We are rolling. And we are now in high-sec again. So after that little bit of drama, we're back in relative safety. I mean, again, relative. There we go. I think I just edited out a bit when I went and made a cup of tea. This episode is brought to you by tea, clearly. There we go. I love the colour finish. I love the skin on this ship at the moment. I can't remember which one it is, but it's not the biosecurity responder one. I don't think I have a skin for... I don't think I have that one. When I do some mining, hopefully I'll do some more project discovery and get some more skins for that. Actually, I haven't even looked. I might have some skins to redeem. I shall look that up. Okay, so we are safe with our loot and our big fat ISK balance. There we go. So we sort of touched upon why mining in low sec is a good idea. There are different tiers of ores that you can mine. So high sec ores are the very basic ones. Low sec ores are the next rareness, and then null sec and wormholes have slightly different ores again. There's one mineral that you can only get from wormholes and null sec, which is, I think, morphite. And there's, I think that's beyond the scope of an alpha character, so we won't get into any of that. Okay, I think I edited through this bit in a second where you might see us change ship randomly. Oh no, we're still in the Punisher. There we go. So I'm just unloading. And let's have a look at our balance. Net worth 691.5 million ISK. So yeah, we are really powering through. This is one of the ventures that I bought on contract locally. And it's a very basic fit. So basic that I won't even put it up in the description, but I think you'll see roughly what it is. Interestingly, I fitted a couple of the Galente miners, and I'm not super impressed. Their yield is a bit rubbish, and they also have a little bit of residue from them too. So Yeah, I'm not absolutely sure what the advantage of fitting them is. So in terms of the fit, I've got a survey scanner for the mining survey scanner, um, just to get us the extra critical hits. And I've put a tiny bit of tank. I've plugged the EM hole in the shield, and I've put a damage control on as well. You will notice eventually that we have got a couple of Hobgoblin 1s in here. I think that was probably a mistake. I think putting Hob 2s in would have been a better idea. And you will also notice that currently we are missing a salvager. And I think on reflection that I think partway through this I fixed that. So we will have that conversation later on. So again, we are in... So we are rolling through Null again. On our way to a system with a low sec or anomaly. There we are. And I have put up my D-scan or directional scanner, and when in low sec there's a couple of things. I think there's 3 things that you can do to try and minimize risk. So you will notice in this system we have one other character. So you have one eye on local, you have one eye on your D-scan, and you use a little bit of thought processes. So at this point what I'm doing is I'm warping to a moon, and between the gate and the moon I'm going to add a safe location, and you will see me call that safe 1, I think. There we go. And once I am at the moon, I'm going to... Excuse me, that's a planet. A planet or a moon? Oh, I can't remember. I think it's a moon. Yeah. I'm going to warp to another object in the system. And again, halfway between this moon and another object in space, I'm going to mark another safe location, which you will see in a second. There we are. Going to call this one safe 2. So I now have 2 almost random objects which are off the main kind of points of interest, so just random points in space. And just to make it even more random, I'm going to warp to the first one. So this first safe spot is halfway between a gate and a moon. I'm going to warp, and I think I warped at 70 as well, just to add a tiny little bit of randomness to it. And there we go. So halfway between one safe spot and another. Did I just mess that up? I can't remember. But I added a third safe spot, which is an extra level of randomness. So if anybody either warps on me while I'm mining, or if there's a sudden spike in local, instead of warping to a gate or a station, which any group of PvPers will have that sort of scouted out, you warp to a random spot in space, which just gives a moment or 2 of peace and relative safety, where what you can do then is, by continually hitting the V key to activate your D-scan. Did you notice that the other guy in local just warped out then? Probably my maneuverings were upsetting him a little. So yeah, while you're at your safe spot, you can hit the D-scan to look for probe scanners. Specifically combat probe scanners. If you see combat probe scanners in your D-scan, it means that somebody is actively trying to find you. And when those probes start to zoom in on you, then that's the point to try and get to either a gate or a station to dock up. But now that this system is free of any other players, I think I randomly am going to spam the D-scan continuously just because it's a habit. Okay, so here we are at a anomaly belt, and this is Hedbergite, a small Hedbergite belt, yes. So this has Hedbergite and Hemorphite, and you will forgive me, I'm saying the words as they sound in my head, which might not be the correct way. So I'm orbiting at 2.5k, and I am mining away. You should notice when the yield indication comes up that there is a little bit of residue as well, which, yeah, on reflection was a bit of a mistake, I think. Okay, so the rats in low sec are a little bit heavier duty than the rats in high sec. So my minuscule tank and my level 1 drones are a little outclassed in a moment. So this is the closest we get to a bit of drama. Whereas I think in high sec you could easily take care of a couple of rats with this setup. In low sec it's a tiny bit of a struggle. I think if I had any sense, if I wasn't recording it, I think I would have warped out at this point and refit. But you can see that the first rat is taking a little bit of damage. Excuse me, coughing. And there we are. We're starting to go through the armor on the first rat. There we go. I'm just checking that we are recording okay. Yes, we are. You will notice that the 2 rats are able to absolutely blast through our shield there. And we've killed 1, but we're almost all the way through our shield. And we are mostly through the second rat's shield, but we are starting to take some armor damage now. So it did get a little touch and go here. I think if I'd had the Hob 2s, I would have got through these without going into armor, which would have made me feel a bit more secure. Yeah, you can see that I'm doing some decent damage now. And it was at this point that I realised that I didn't have a salvager. But I could loot the cargo, which I thought was a little lame, to be honest. The loot fairy said today. And here we go. I think it was at this point that I thought I would just quickly loot the 2 wrecks and then maybe warp back and swap out the drones and fit the salvager as well. There we are. I'm just checking to see whether the second wreck is in range of the rock. Slurp is coming. Right, here we are. Let's have a look at the ore hold. Come on now. The first rock is almost half done. Oh yes, so I think the same character came back in, and I think we see that he's in a scanning ship. Or did I miss it? I think the fact that I'm in the system is making him dock up reluctantly. And I think it was at this point that I thought to myself, do you know what? I can come back for those wrecks. So here we are. There we go. So this particular rock the hemorphite gives us a decent amount of noxicum and a decent amount of isogen, I think. Both of which is quite tricky to get hold of in high sec, I think. There you go, you can see that there was a little bit of wastage, a little bit of residue. Yeah. So it is round about this point that I decided that it was probably time to get my stuff and go and get repaired and refit a salvager and what have you. No, I'm still mining. Mining isn't a white knuckle thrill ride. If you were thinking of getting an action-packed play style, this isn't it. Although it does get the heart pumping a little when random strangers pop up in local. Yeah, there we are. So I have turned off my miners and I'm going to quickly whip back. I think there's another random gate-based jump. So I think we jump from this system right to the nearly at the home station. Or the home away from home. There we go. See if you can spot where the edit happens. There it was. Flawless. Okay, so we are going to dock up at the storage and manufacturing station and then realise that we need to be at the refining station. So that's the next thing that happens. So my favourite pub quiz question this week was, what is the longest word in the English language wherein all the letters are in alphabetical order? So there's a little puzzle for quiz fans. The answer that I had was 6 letters, but somebody in the group found a 7-letter one, which is impressive. So I'm just taking that third of a hold's worth of ore, and I'm going to take off the absolutely terrible Galente miners. And I think because of what this ship is getting used for, rather than going for the scoped miners, I went for the forgot the name of them. Not the Gaussian, the particle bore ones. There we go. I've got a nice collection of loot drop miners, and you can see I've fitted a salvager too. And I think I am going to now put on a couple of Hob 2s, our newly bought Hob 2s, to give us some DPS. I think I was looking to see whether there was anything that I could do to improve our chances. Did I fit the Hob 2s? Ah, there you go. I think at this point I realised that I still had the Hob 1s on board. There we go. Again, if I had any sense, I would have edited that bit out. But hey, I think we are going to have another... This is a combination undock and acceleration gate combination now. So we start off undocking and then we end up landing in the mining system. Shorty is still going on, so I'm going to warp to safe 3 and just assess the situation. Oh, and I'm going to miss the probe scanner button. So there he is. He's out in his buzzard, which is a scanning ship, I think. There we go. but it can cloak up. I suspect what he does is cloak up. And so he must be a reasonably... If he can use a cloaking device, he must be an Omega player. Oh, Omega, if you prefer. Yeah, I think he has quite a cautious style of play, which I respect. Again, the Buzzard ship, although a bit tougher than a Venture, is not the most damage resistant ship. So I'm going to try and salvage those 2 wrecks from earlier on, as well as do a little bit of mining too. So I have the Hob 2s launched, and I am zooming in on a couple of the wrecks there. And I think there's going to be a short fast forward section, but I'm going to avoid using the loud background music this time, because I thought the last episode the background music was a little bit much. I shall talk over it with random mining stuff. There we go. So we have some more hemorphite being mined. I think we're going to mix that up a little bit so that we get a variety of minerals. And there we go. We can salvage the other wreck as well. You'll notice with the particle bore miners, there's no residue wastage, which I think is a good thing. I haven't hit my... Oh, there we are. So we've gone for a fast forward bit while the mining hold gets filled up. For some reason I stopped orbiting. Now I'm going to get some jaspet, which is a rock which occurs sometimes in some exploration sites. I'm still struggling with that word. I think it must be, at this point, I think it must be wired into me. There we go. Yep, so this is at approximately 6 times speed, so that gives you a bit of an idea of how long it's taking to fill up the hold. There we go. And I think this rock depletes and we get a bit of the next rock as well, which is Hedbergite, I think. Although it looks like hemorphite still. No, I'm talking nonsense. That's fairly normal. Even with the opportunity of recording the voiceover afterwards, I still get it wrong, but hey. Life's too short to worry about the details and drink bad wine. Mostly the drinking bad wine, obviously. There we go. And that is our mining hold almost full. So I think we end up with just about, not quite 1 million ISKs worth of mining ore. For some reason we went and had a look at a random... Oh yeah, I think I was just looking to see what other rocks were in a standard belt. And I think we are approaching one of my fantastic acceleration gate or warp gate based edits. Here we go. So we're in one system and we come out in a completely random different system. There we go. And again, see if you can spot the join. We are just about to dock up and just have a look at how much we can get for refining this ore. I think there might have been a small break there where again I went and made a cup of tea. Here we are. And we go. Docking up. Brilliant. So the Venture is a awesome, tough little ship, which is absolutely brilliant at nipping into slightly less safe areas. I'm just going to move that across. There we go. I don't think we had any rewards. So you can see I've hopped into the Bestower and I am filling it up with the low sec ore that we have mined today. And there you go. I think it was about 1100 and something worth estimated. And I'm going to hop over to the refining station and I'm going to do another edit between undocking from this one and docking into the next one. And quickly refine that. There we go. And I'm going to stack whatever ore I've got lying around. I think I accidentally scooped a couple of unrefinable things up there, but that's fine. So we turned just about 1 million ISK worth of rock into just under 1 million ISKs worth of minerals, but we've got some decent low sec minerals in there too. And I think we're going to get that mostly. There we go. Brilliant. So we've loaded up the Bestower. That is a weird looking ship, isn't it? I think what are those weird looking fish that eat coral? Is it parrotfish? I'm sure somebody who's a fish fan will know that one. But yeah, bizarre looking ungainly things. And that should give us enough minerals to complete today's daily task of manufacturing an item. We've already travelled for more than 3 jumps. So I think we've got one of the 2 daily tasks completed. I'm just going to see which out of our blueprints we can use today. So we could, we don't have enough to make tractor beams. We can make some probe launchers, but they're not really selling for anything. They're a little bit dog shit. But I noticed that if I drop that down to just 1 salvage tackle rig, we can make 1 salvage tackle rig and thereby complete our daily task and get another nice little cash and skills bonus there. So we are nearly done. I'd like to say thank goodness that one is over. I quite liked I might do a voiceover again. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all of the usual things, and fly safe and fly profitable, everyone.